Venturing deep into the depths of the forest alone at night can be horrifying. But what happens when you encounter someone or something you'd rather never meet? Tonight on Mr. Fear, we're taking a cold plunge right into 14 of the most terrifying encounters ever recorded. Red Man. This next one might push the boundaries of what you consider scary. Let's watch. The setup is rather simple. Just a man, the deep forest, and his trusty old tent. Somehow, a tent never feels secure enough to separate you from what lurks on the outside, does it? The man is settling in to what seems to be a good night. He's exhausted from the day's journey and is ready to sleep like a baby. But sleep might be a little farther from him than he thought. He initially hears the sound of wild foxes, which, although they sound disturbing, are nothing to be afraid of. As he begins to gather dinner, some other strange noise begins to occur, as if someone is moving through the nearby brush.
I think... the hell? Yeah, I'd turn this. I think I just turn this.
Naturally, he decides to explore, so he shines his flashlight at his campsite perimeter.
Hello, is there? Anybody there? Hello?
And that's when he catches it. Some kind of person dressed up in all red, wearing a costume with an unfriendly looking mask. It's stretching out its arm, hiding behind the trunk of a tree. The whole situation is totally terrifying. The man is alarmed, obviously, but when he goes to shine the flashlight again, the person is gone entirely.
Oof.
The man decides there's nothing else to do but pack up and go home. Can't say we blame him. Skinwalker situation. Going to the cabin for the weekend is supposed to be a relaxing affair. That is, until you realize nowhere is safe from the strange and the abnormal. Take a look. The following footage is recorded from a family's CCTV footage from the backyard of their cabin. While they weren't at the cabin at the time, the footage still rolls on and manages to capture something altogether freaky. What looks like an elongated figure waltzes on by, moving very inhumanly. Its rhythms are off and totally abnormal. It appears entirely headless too, with limbs too long to safely call it a human. What do you make of such a sight? Could this be the ever-elusive Skinwalker looking to find its next shell? Or simply a good old CCTV trick? La Llorona. La Llorona is a pretty iconic figure in horror mythology, and she comes right from ancient Mexican folklore. She is said to haunt bodies of water and weep very loudly around them. It is said that she had drowned her children after discovering her husband was unfaithful, so she haunts those with children to get even for her own terrible mistake. This next video may or may not feature La Llorona. It's sort of hard to tell what's real or not, as reality seems to blend into the supernatural. It might be best to take a peek for yourself. The following footage, initially posted to Reddit, comes from a man and his family camping out at a local camping ground just for a change of scenery. They are awakened to the sounds of dogs barking, howling wildly, and when they emerge from the tent, they can see a figure dressed entirely in white moving around the small lake. She begins to moan loudly too, and eventually, her moaning and the dog's howling become entirely intertwined. Her cries are entirely terrifying. And as quick as she appeared, she disappears. Though, the family didn't stick around for her return, as the Mexican people take the curse of La Llorona very seriously. What do you think of this mystifying encounter? A real woman's cries, or something more sinister indeed? Peeking around. On a nighttime camping trip somewhere in the Turkish wilderness, a man takes fate into his own hands when he happens upon a creature that no one has been able to successfully identify to this day. Let's watch. While on a midnight hike, our two campers begin to hear strange noises from a nearby rocky outcrop.
Hocam bu ne ya? Ana, oğlum.
The sounds this creature is making are totally unsettling, like a cross between a man and a beast. When one of the campers shines a bright light into the crack of one of the boulders, the creature can only be seen slightly, staring menacingly back with its large black eyes and strange shape.
Şunun içinde bir şey var.
The cameraman is totally terrified and makes a run for it, leaving us with a small yet strange glimpse into this mysterious creature. Upon zooming in, the creature's features can be seen more succinctly, looking almost alien in appearance. There are a lot of theories regarding its identity, but no one seems to be able to make a realistic assumption. What do you think is going on here? Let us know down below.
Şunun içinde bir şey var.
The cave. Deep in the heart of the Argentinian rainforest, a group of cave explorers and campers are making their way through the vastness of an Argentine cave system. Their mission is to travel the world and see all of the caves that they can, and some are more forgettable than others. This one, though, will be one they will not soon forget. Take a peek. The camera footage is shaky at best, and the reports from the explorers, although in Argentine Spanish, tell of a trip full of caves with strange drawings and eerie noises. These caves are sometimes the site of secret rituals for some religious groups, and locals warn explorers of the danger they could stumble upon. The footage doesn't look good for them, because as soon as their shaky cam pans up, some kind of being is watching them intently, looking like a hulking Nosferatu. Standing gigantically and quite still, as if he was waiting for them all along. One can only guess what kind of activity is happening in the caves. Though the footage ends there, we are left to wonder if they made it out alive that night or not. The rake. If you don't know what a rake is, you're definitely lucky. But after this video, you'll unfortunately be all too familiar. And then you'll have to be comfortable with knowing that kind of terrifying information. Sorry about that. The following footage is said to have captured a rake, which are said to be pale, hairless creatures that cause psychological torture to anyone who happens upon one. Though the rake's origins are unclear, history is said to be full of references to the mysterious rake. Take a look for yourself. A camper's trail cam captures what many believe to be a rake, crawling terrifyingly at the edge of their cabin woods.
Creature crawling in the distance on a rural property.
The creature moves menacingly across the ground, instilling fear in each and every step. During its terrifying sprawl, it stops, cocks its head, and stares terrifyingly, as if it is looking directly at you. Hope you weren't planning on sleeping anytime soon. APE-MAN. You know that feeling you get that someone's just standing there, watching you? And then that feeling that someone is lurking just a few paces behind you, and when you turn around, there's nothing there? Well, the man in this next video is too entirely familiar with that feeling, and luckily whipped out his camera to show us just what was lurking in the shadows. While on a nature hike not too far from his campsite, a man captures what can only be described as a figure that is entirely ape-like in appearance, lurking casually in the shadows. It's standing as an ape would, looking ready to pounce and make a dastardly move. Unfortunately, the clip ends there, but our minds are left wondering, what the heck was that exactly? Jumping Jack. On what begins as a fun outing in the woods, a family's life is changed forever in the matter of only seconds. Let's take a look. The video begins with a father filming his two kids playing in the woods, running like they don't have a care in the world. As the two play, his son stops suddenly as something moves a little too quickly in the distance.
What's that, Dad?
The creature they spot in the video is like one you've never seen before. Initially looking like a crazed human trying to scare the family off, it makes an erratic, inhuman jump into the trees above. When it jumps into the trees, it seems to disappear entirely. The father is more concerned with keeping his children safe and urges them all to head back into the cabin.
Let's go back inside, come on guys.
Needless to say, they cut their vacation short that day. Tall Man. On a late-night mountain biking excursion through the dark and unforgiving wilderness, a biker manages to come face-to-face with something they are not going to soon forget. Watch. The cyclist is moving fast, letting the adrenaline ramp up and feeling the coolness of the wind against their skin. All is good until the biker spots what looks like a tall man, pale and faceless in appearance, wearing what looks like a suit of some kind. The obvious comparison to make is Slender Man, of course, but it doesn't greatly represent what Slender Man is supposedly supposed to look like. Whatever it is though, terrifying doesn't even really come close to describing it. Big Shake. While out having a cigarette at his weekend cabin, a man begins to feel an unsettling stir in the air. What happens next will shock you. Take a look. Right at the height of the tree line, something is up in the trees, causing a loud ruckus right on the very treetops.
Look at that. What in Jesus' name is doing this?
Something very large and very angry is moving up there, making quite a stir, breaking branches and shaking the centuries-old trees wildly, moving with an alien amount of power. As the man records, the violence continues harder than before, now with large, bigger than a car-sized branches falling down to the forest floor.
Oh my God, he just took half the tree down. Something, oh my God.
Whatever it is, its power is absolutely massive, and its speed is totally inhuman. Some suggest a bear, but others remark that while strong, bears don't move that quickly. Other suggestions range from Bigfoot to aliens and almost everything in between. But it's likely we'll never know what exactly is causing all of this nighttime ruckus. Some have attempted to slow the video down in an attempt to debunk this strange occurrence, and some can make out what looks like a large, hulking face with strange, deadened eyes. Whatever it is, it's safe to say it's best left alone.
Look at that. What in Jesus' name is doing this? Oh my God, he just took half the tree down.
Lurking. While scouting their campsite for the night, a couple runs into a terrifying problem. Take a look. After much debate on where to pitch the tent for the night, the two finally decide on a spot that's in a rather open field with good visibility on either side. As the two begin to pitch their tent, they started hearing some strange rumbling coming from ahead. They notice that a figure has emerged from the outcrop of boulders ahead, wearing camouflage and moving very slowly. The man is lurking carefully around his surroundings, while the couple remain totally hidden, as his actions are far from welcoming. It looks as though the man is hiding something, as he is carefully pacing, looking to see if he is being watched. He scans his woods closely, and it looks like he's a little too familiar with his surroundings, almost like he lives there. It's definitely his space though. There's no doubt about it. And with that, nervously, the couple pack up and head out, unwilling to find out anything further. Something strange. Another CCTV camera footage from a cabin deep in the heart of the woods captures some sights and sounds you won't soon forget. Watch. The footage comes from the bowels of Reddit and begins in the front yard of the cabin, with some strange movements happening in the densely wooded thicket ahead. There's a strange noise occurring, sounding like menacing, demonic laughter. While a strange humanoid figure moves strangely, with glowing white eyes, and a menacing stare moves too. The way the creature moves is totally unsettling, and reminds of one of the old X-Files episodes or something right out of the Twilight Zone. Some think it could be some sort of animal, but as usual, the Reddit community can't seem to come to an agreement on what it is exactly. Whatever it is, it's probably time to find a new cabin. TERRIFIER. Posted to the cryptid page on Reddit, this next clip features a very brief look at something strange. While on a hike through what the locals call the Devil's Tongue, a camper stumbles across a figure, with some suggesting it looks very much like a newborn skinwalker, looking to inhibit its next human host. Apparently, skinwalkers are born when a heinous act such as a murder occurs, and they look to quickly transfer their misery onto a human. Sounds like quite the story, but that's what the legend suggests. The figure in this clip is claimed to be an infant skinwalker, wobbling around in its new shape, learning to walk for the first time. Whatever is happening here, it's a big no thanks from everyone at Mr. Fear. The Mothman Cometh. The Mothman was once a local legend to the town of Point Pleasant, West Virginia, but strangely, sightings have been occurring all over New York State as of late. The Mothman is said to appear right before a tragedy of some kind, and he is nothing but a warning sign, warning those local to his sighting to take heed and be careful, as something sinister is about to happen. The Mothman is said to stand like a man, with large moth wings and glowing red eyes. The footage in this clip has the red eyes on lockdown, and though the area can't be confirmed, it looks well enough like West Virginia to us. Take a look. The footage begins with our so-called Mothman moving around the trees, watching whomever is filming him very, very carefully. The figure is moving erratically, constantly looking to see what's happening around him, always sort of peeking to see if those around him have left. The glowing eyes eventually disappear, and the person who posted to Reddit has said no tragedies have occurred as of yet. What do you think? Was this the infamous Mothman, or does it have a more sane explanation? Let us know down below.